As promised, we're going to pop over to Arizona, which has long been a conservative stronghold, but this election, it's seeing something of a political transformation. The last few thousand votes there are still being counted, but President-elect Joe Biden remains in the lead, and CBS News correspondent Jamie Yuccas has been in Phoenix covering all of it for us. Jamie, let's talk about the feeling on the ground there. What's going on behind you? Jamie, I'm not sure if you can hear me, but it sounds like there are some people who are excited behind you. Obviously, the Arizona race still close to call. You've been following all of it. Arizona is one of the last states to make a call. What new insights do you have this evening?
Well, I just want to show you really quickly what's happening here is that you can see that these are the supporters of President Donald Trump, and they have been here throughout the day today. There's about 100, 150 or so. At one point, I think there was probably up to about 300 people here. It was much warmer earlier today. We have a front moving in, so it's become a little chilly. People kind of moving in and out. But these are people who are very much dedicated to the president. They want their vote to be counted. We've heard throughout the day today many chants. They also have been very peaceful. We've seen many different prayer sessions happen in this group, they're saying that they are praying for the president to win. They don't believe that he's lost at this point. When you talk to them, they feel like they still have a chance to get back in this, and they do not want the president to concede. They believe that there have been some problems here in Maricopa County in Arizona, and so they want those to be figured out, and they really believe that their vote hasn't been counted. At one point, they went up to the door and said, "We demand our vote to be counted." They started chanting that. So that's kind of the scene on the ground today. They do not, as I said, want the president to concede at this point, and they plan to stay here. They plan to come back day after day, they say, until they feel that they've been successful in getting the president elected.
It's been so interesting watching you over the last couple of days there, Jamie, and hearing the Trump supporters there in Arizona calling for every vote to be counted, and then seeing Biden-Harris supporters out in Philadelphia demanding the exact same thing. But one of the things that really stuck out in your last couple of days of reporting was when you talked to us about the crowds of Trump supporters, many of them armed, who said, "Hey, we don't mean any harm to you. We're just here to express our Second Amendment rights and preferences." Given what the president has said about the media, has said falsely about the counting of ballots, is that permeating into the crowd there, or do they still feel like the democratic process is working and is something that is not corrupt, that is not fraudulent?
No, as I said, I believe it emboldens them. They believe that they want the president to stay in office as long as possible. They want him to file lawsuits. They don't believe that their votes have been counted, and if they have been counted, they don't believe that they were counted properly. They think that there is still a way for the president to stay in office at this point. So that's it. Really, when he comes out and says what he does, it seems to embolden the crowd. That's why they say they will be back here. They ask the crowd to come back day after day after day. They want people to show up and show their support for the president, thinking that it may make a change. I can tell you that there have been some lawsuits filed. We heard about another one today here in Arizona, filed on behalf of the Trump campaign, and it has to do with the counting of ballots on Election Day. There seems to be some issue that the campaign is saying that the ballots were not counted correctly, that some of them had been rejected, and that election workers told them, "Oh no, these are being pushed through," when in actuality they had been rejected. And so there's some debate over that, but I can tell you that the Secretary of State said that while they're looking into it, that she believes it's a repackaged Sharpiegate lawsuit, and hopefully this puts the matter to rest for good. When they come out later, after they've taken a look at the actual lawsuit, they plan to make a statement. You may remember Sharpiegate from earlier this week was something that went viral right after Election Day. Everyone started talking about the fact that if they had filled out their ballot with a Sharpie, and many different places in Arizona had used Sharpies at their election centers because it dries faster, apparently, with their tabulation machines. But this idea went through social media, it went very viral, as to if people used a Sharpie, they believed that it had bled through, that the ballots had been rejected. Many different elections officials had to come out and say that's absolutely not true. We actually use Sharpies because the ink dries faster and gets through the machine, and that if something were to be kicked out, there are actually a Democrat and Republican who sit together and look at the ballot and make sure that it gets tabulated in the way that they both have to agree upon before it gets sent back into tabulation. And earlier this week, the Maricopa County attorney had to come out and say that no ballots were rejected at voting centers for overvotes or for any other reason. So we have these ideas that kind of get into the crowd. They go viral on the internet. They embolden this crowd, as does the president. So I think we are going to continue to see this crowd here over the next several days, Lana.
All right. Thank you, especially for that update on so-called Sharpie Gate. I know a lot of people were wondering about that. Jamie Yuccas, thank you.
Yep.